بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: من نسي وهو صائم فأكل وشرب فليتم صومه فإنما أطعمه الله وسقاه. متفق عليه. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, whoever forgets that he is fasting, anyone who forgets that they were fasting, and they eat and drink, they should complete their fast as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had fed them and gave them water. This hadith is talking about when a person is fasting but does not remember that they are fasting, and then they end up consuming something. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that this does not impact the validity of the fast. They should just continue fasting till the end of the day, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has wanted this person to eat and drink that, and his forgetting is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First thing is that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in this hadith is talking about when somebody does something out of forgetfulness. So there was a time when Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala majma'een, they were told that in tubdu shay'an aw tukhfuhu yuhasibkum bihillah, that whether you express something or you hide something, just a thought, you would be questioned about it. You would be held accountable about it. So this was really hard on the Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala majma'een. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, whatever we express, whatever we talk about, the conversation, actions, we can control. But our thoughts, how are we going to control our thoughts? That's really hard on us. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam just said, say sami'na wa ata'na. And then at that time, the Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala majma'een, they just said, Sami'na wa ta'ana, Ya Allah, we're accepting to everything that you are ordaining on us. And then later on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Inna Allah tajawaza an ummati ma waswasat bihi suduruhum. That whatever the hearts speak to them, whatever thoughts that they have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive those. In the previous nations, even if you did something accidentally or forgetfully, you were still held accountable. And this is a privilege of our ummah, that the same hadith about that is the same one that is mentioned about forgetting as well. And in there, in the same ayahs where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about in tubdu shay'un aw tukhfu, on the bottom all the way at the end, the dua is رَبَّنَا لَا تُؤَاخِذْنَا إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا. Ya Allah, do not hold us accountable for إِن نَسِينَا أَوْ أَخْطَأْنَا, if we forget something or we do something accidentally. And this is a dua that was accepted, and obviously it's a dua that we continuously make, because the people before us, as the dua continues, رَبَّنَا وَلَا تَحْمِلْ عَلَيْنَا إِصْرًا كَمَا حَمَلْتَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِنَا. That, Ya Allah, don't burden us with those burdens that you had on the nations before us. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there is another hadith, Inna Allah tajawaza an ummati al-khata'u wan-nisyan wa ma istakrahu alayh. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven and excused from my ummah anything that they forget or they do accidentally, or anything they're forced to do. This hadith is Hasan. It's narrated by Ibn Majah and Imam Bayhaqi and others. So this is something as a privilege to our ummah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has excused us and gave us the ability that if you do something accidentally or forgetting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not hold us accountable for it. Yes, if we do it purposefully, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will hold us accountable for it. Even if it's lack of planning, we need to make sure that we plan it accordingly. And this is something, there was actually an incident of the brother of Salama bin Aqwa radiallahu anh. Salama bin Aqwa radiallahu anh was a famous Sahabi. He was an archer, and his brother Amir bin Aqwa radiallahu anh, he's also a known Sahabi. They were at war, and he tried to attack the enemy, and he ended up hitting himself, injuring himself, and that injury resulted to his death, and he passed away. So some people most likely munafiqun, they're like, oh, your brother, he killed himself, so therefore that's considered suicide, and that's haram in Islam, so he's not going to succeed in the hereafter. So Salama ibn Akbar radiallahu anhu took it very hard because they were very close. So he took it very hard. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw him and he's really sad, and he asked, what happened? And he said, oh, this is what people are saying. He said, no, these people are lying. He is a shaheed and he would hold the status of shaheed, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will let him succeed in the hereafter. This is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has excused all those mistakes that we do, and this is part of that mistake. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has just away all the other forgetfulness and mistakes. So the one thing is that in the hadith itself, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam separates khata wa nisyan. Khata means to make a mistake, to do something accidentally. Nisyan is to do something forgetfully. So the difference is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did excuse both of them. But in this hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam only talks about nisyan, man nasiya, whoever forgets. So the difference that the fuqaha mentioned, that whether somebody does something out of forgetfulness or somebody does something out of accident, they will not be held accountable, they will not be sinful for doing that. But the difference is, if you do something forgetting that you're fasting, then your fast will continue, it doesn't impact the validity of the fast. But if you do something accidentally, then your fast will break. And if your fast breaks, then you would have to make up for that fast. There will not be any kafara, and you will not be sinful, but your fast will break. That's the difference. So just for example, if we're working on our desk or we're studying and we see a water bottle, and then you just pick up the water bottle and drink it, not remembering that you're fasting, that's forgetfulness. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanting us to have that drink or that food. So that's out of forgetfulness. Just continue the fast as if that never happened. But the second one is, for example, somebody's making wudu, and they are rinsing their mouth, and all of a sudden they just take a gulp inside accidentally. Now they remembered that they were fasting, but now this water went down our throat accidentally. That will invalidate the fast, but it will not cause any sin, and it will not cause any kafara. It would just be a qada. But again, the reason the fast will break is because we need to be careful. And this is the reason that in normal cases, when we rinse our mouth, this is just one example, when we rinse our mouth, we will gargle, right? And we try to rinse it very thoroughly. But obviously when we're fasting, we need to be a little bit careful because obviously we don't want to accidentally swallow any water. So this is the difference. Again, these are classroom discussions about fiqh, but this hadith, it has both elements of it. Obviously a big shafqa from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a big ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us with these type of ni'mahs that were not there in the previous nation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to understand these big blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to always adapt to the ni'mahs and always be appreciative of the ni'mahs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to shower His mercy and blessings upon all of us. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to accept our siyam and qiyam and everything that we're doing in this blessed month of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always continue to use us and continue to seek knowledge throughout our entire life. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanakallah.